All right, guys, today I'm here to talk about Hawas Fire. But before I get into specifics of Hawas Fire, it's a very nice bottle. I'll show you guys the bottle. We'll talk about the smell and the wearing experience and where it stands in the Hawas DNA, all of the line. I'm going to tell you guys if you're curious about this line or the hype is getting to you, I'll definitely help you figure out which one's the best one for you. I'd say they're all pretty close. So I'll show you guys the ups and downs here. So talking about the bottles, right? The bottles are cool. I like how they feel. They're pretty dense. They have a snap-on cap, like the cap clicks on and off, right? Little satisfying click. They have a snake kind of tail wrapping around it. These are made in Dubai by Rasasi. Rasasi's well known. They actually have like hundreds of fragrances that they've released already, but for some reason the Hawas ones are the really like super hyped. They've been hyped for years, and every time they drop a new one, I'm compelled to buy them too. And actually do enjoy these. As compliments go, they're one of the strongest complimenting kind of houses. Well, this line of fragrances right here, guys, the Hawas line, one of the strongest for compliments that I have ever really worn. I guess because they're so pronounced when you're wearing them, they really reach out into the air. There's a lot of synthetic components to these. They're not like very fine, niche, natural smelling fragrances. They are very like busy, heavy wearing, fresh, aquatic, fruity, some spicy, some cooling kind of bluer fragrances. So just to give you a quick breakdown, I'd say Hawas for him, the original, is like this spicy kind of fruity synthetic. The original right here is the one that I probably wouldn't get again, and I wouldn't recommend this one as the first for everyone to get into the house or to get into this DNA, but it did do a lot of work for me for a long time. So I definitely give it an honorable mention here. But I'd say now, since we have these other two offerings, there's a little bit more going on in them, and the original is just, it's still really good, guys. Like at this $40 price range that they're all at, it's really hard to like knock these at all. They do really perform like beyond designer level expectations, and they're super generous with kind of their presentation and how they behave and stuff. Pretty linear, guys. You're not going to get like some kind of storytelling here. It's not like an artistic fragrance. I'd say they're more of a an all-purpose kind of just get out there and get compliments and just really basic kind of functions here, like a utilitarian function of a fragrance. These guys have it. I'll tell you guys now that these two are the ones that I would push people towards. You'll notice that Hawas Black doesn't make it to this video. It's a completely different fragrance, guys. It totally is a departure from what we're talking about with these three. At least these three have some commonalities. They're all very similar. They have the same theme throughout them. When Hawas Black came out, I was actually looking forward to having some kind of theme, and that one just subverted expectations deliberately. And I'd say that was sort of a letdown for a lot of people, even though as that fragrance profile goes, it was pretty kick-ass. Not a lot of compliments from like ladies and stuff. It was kind of a mature, austere kind of green, tough fragrance, like a very strong, masculine, mature, tough fragrance. So that one, I'm not really recommending that at all. That's not going to make it to this video, and it didn't seem like it should be named Hawas. But this one, this new fire, definitely should be named in the Hawas DNA. I'm wearing it right now. It reminds me exactly of the Hawas DNA. I'll give you guys which one that I would prefer, you know, at the end of the video or a little bit closer in a minute or two. So Hawas Fire, it has this aromatic edge to it and a spicy sweet edge. So it still has this Hawas thing. If you guys have smelled Hawas, you will definitely be able to tell that this is in that family. It has that. It has the DNA. And then it's just like a flanker would be. It's just a modified version of Hawas. And I'd say it is a little bit more, it's got this like almost the chemicals that are in like Fierce and Mont Blanc Legend. It has that masculine aromatic thing going on. It still has like this touch of an aquatic kind of deal going on. It's a fresh, showery, still kind of fragrance. And I'd say this leans more towards a blue fragrance than anything with this marketing. It doesn't really have that fire kind of thing that I've expected something, you know, spicy, wintry, dense. Yeah, no, this is an uplifting kind of really mass appealing, generic, blue smelling fragrance with a little bit of that Hawas plum kind of sweetness. You know, it's got that fruity nature to it while it still has that synthetic, fresh kind of cleaning supplies kind of deal going on in a good way, guys. But that's the closest way I could go with this. It's definitely a keeper. Definitely really nice. When I finish this, though, I probably won't get it again. This is where I come in and say, I think Hawas Ice already did the job for me when it comes to probably the most mass appealing of the Hawas DNA right now. I'd say Hawas Ice is my favorite one to wear. It's kind of doesn't have that crazy spicy stuff going on. It's just really more mass appealing and more of a blue kind of really generic, like, but special still fragrance. Like, you can't go wrong with either one, guys. I would say if you have both of them, you're getting a little redundant, but I prefer Ice personally over Fire. Now, Fire, you could read the notes, guys. I'll just give you a cautionary tale about that. They have some kind of mistake on Fragrantica where they put the wrong notes up, so be careful if you're looking at Fragrantica. Go to Hawas, go to Rasasi's website and see if you can get the notes. I don't really personally look at those. I don't care about notes as much, guys. It's not really a great way to explain things either, like, because a real perfumer would tell you, like, hey, this has like all these aroma chemicals in it. It does nothing for me because I've never smelled those raw materials. So, you know, the plum in here is definitely relatable. You smell this fruity, fresh deal. There's some kind of an aquatic suggestion here. There's something a little bit like molecular about it, like a metal kind of like edge to it, but not metallic outright, nothing like that. There's a sweetness and a freshness and that same synthetic kind of nature that Hawas Ice and Hawas Original have. So it's definitely a flanker. It's definitely not that different from the other two. And if your guys are kind of in that range of thinking about grabbing one of these, I'd say Ice was the one that I'd always recommend to people like that I respect. Like, if I respect you and I know you and I know you probably like it, this is the best bet for the first one I'd get. And then I'd say Fire is like the second one, you know, in the list. You might like this more, but personally, my experience with Hawas, the Ice is just the one that I would always have to recommend over and over again. So Fire is a hit, though. It's very good. It's got the same kind of linear strength to hang out all day and just project on you and just be there with you all day. These are all probably difficult to smell which one's which when you're walking past each other. Like, say I wore Fire one day, Ice another day, and the original, you would be hard pressed to tell me which one it is, but you would definitely be able, you would probably think they're all the same almost. They're very close, guys, out in the air for sure. But this one does have a little bit of an interesting kick to it, does have a little bit of a twist, and I do appreciate it as a flanker. So it's definitely still an A tier for me. I'd still say, again, guys, Ice is the one that you should probably put your eyes on if you were interested. You know, Hawas Ice is the one that I'd say it did it like the most refined approach so far on it. This one is definitely a little bit louder. It's got like different notes in it. It's kind of a little bit, it's still identifiable. But yeah, so yeah, I'd say Fire would be the second one that I tell everybody to get. So as these go at $40, guys, they're all pretty hard to miss with. Like, it's a good hit. Now, some of you guys might not like these synthetic kind of bombs. They're very like fakes, not fake smelling, but synthetic, like cleaning supply kind of in that direction, guys. You know, you mix like a blue fragrance, some really serious like projecting freshness. These things are very fresh. They are kind of bombs. They stick with you all day. They're very loud. They have a nice silage on them. Like, they're huge. They're huge. They're massive. Like, sometimes I sprayed a bunch of this. Sometimes I'll walk into work and someone will get me like 20 feet away, man. I didn't even go near them yet. And they're like, yo, you smell good. And I smell you from over here. And it's like actually 20 feet away and I still wasn't even in the room yet. So they can be definitely powerful, powerful fragrances for freshies at the $40 range. And they definitely compete with that, you know, designer kind of $80, $100 range designers that are getting pushed now. So these are good to get your eyes on for sure, albeit they tread into the synthetic territory quite a bit. So if you guys like the natural smelling stuff, and a little bit of that photorealistic stuff. And, you know, these are a little bit playful, a little bit youthful, a little bit more, um, you know, I wouldn't, you could probably dress these up a little bit, but I'd probably keep these for like that all purpose gym work. You know, it's work safe stuff for sure, but you could definitely go overboard. So Hawas Fire kind of just, it doesn't really do anything super different than the Hawas Ice and the Hawas Original. It is a slight change, guys. So definitely, if you want to sample it and stuff, go ahead. It's a cheap enough fragrance that you blind buyers will be happy with this. You guys who like, you know, just blind buy fragrances and, you know, you see the next thing and you FOMO out on it. I'd say if you already got ice, you probably don't even need to get fire. But, you know, if you don't have any of them, you'd probably be just happy enough with either of these two. And I'd avoid the OG just because the other two just feel a little bit more refined to me, a little bit more interesting. And, you know, it could get a little screechy if you spray too much. So that's the overview on Hawas. I'd give this a solid A tier. As a $40 fragrance goes, it's really, really great, guys. Like, and for freshies, there's always this dilemma with those nice, clean fragrances that they don't blast off of you and last all day. And if you want something that really kicks some ass with like the sillage, projection, that whole thing, and the performance, if you're a performance junkie, you know, these Hawas DNAs really do perform, albeit they stick to you all day, guys. They assault you all day, and they can get kind of fatiguing if you spray it wrong. So just know that going into these. They are what they are. They're very good for $40. There's a lot of things that these compete with now, and they actually hold their own in that market. So I'd say, guys, keep your eyes on it. Be patient, though. Don't just blind buy. You know, out of FOMO, these are going to be around. They're going to, even if they go out of stock, they're going to be around, guys, especially because the redundancy now in this whole line, the three of these are all very similar. So splitting hairs, if you get all three of them like I have, you know, I'm still going to reach for ice the most personally. I already feel it. I already know it. I'm going to test fire more and more and more, but really right now it's still ice is the king of the Hawas DNAs right now. All right, guys, that's my take. Tried to keep it short. Peace.